In HBO's period drama The Gilded Age, the character of Peggy Scott, Denée Benton, offers a solitary glimpse into the life of the black upper class in New York City in the 1880s. Yet in Season 2, that contextual lens is expanded when the secretary and aspiring journalist, just one generation removed from slavery, ventures to the South and witnesses both the progressive educational strides made by and for African Americans at the dawn of the establishment of historically black colleges and universities, as well as the social prejudices that threaten their existence. Peggy gets to explore so many different textures of the black world this season, from going to Tuskegee, to meeting Sarah Garnett and seeing the community organizing that was happening during that time, and getting to see a black social gathering for the fireworks at the Brooklyn Bridge, which was one of the first in the series, Benton tells The Hollywood Reporter. This season, it feels like we got to really go into the eyes of different characters. I really like the nuanced ways they showed grief and fracture and repair through Peggy's family, and the journey that she takes with her parents and that her parents take with each other, she says. I thought it was beautiful to show the way our specific generational trauma can affect some of those fractures and what mending can look like. When Thomas Fortune, Sullivan Jones, Peggy's editor and publisher of the weekly New York Globe, agrees to let her accompany him to cover the opening of the new dormitory at the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, her mother, Dorothy Scott, Audra McDonald, doesn't see it as the exciting career opportunity she does. Instead, Dorothy's opposition, rooted in fear for Peggy's safety and naivete to the racial realities of being black in the South, threatened to drive a greater wedge between Peggy and her family, whose Brooklyn home she left so she could return to work for Agnes Van Ryn, Christine Baranski, in Manhattan after learning her child, whom her father made her believe was stillborn, had actually survived and was adopted. In the Season 2 premiere, Peggy found out that her son, who would have now been 3 years old, and his adopted mother, died of scarlet fever 6 months prior. That grief, Benton says, is part of what fueled Peggy's insistence on traveling to Tuskegee. It kind of makes her feel like she doesn't have anything left to lose in a really powerful way. I think it makes her really clear about her purpose around using her writing as a real channel. And I think that maybe had these things not happened, had she not gotten the closure that she'd gotten, maybe she wouldn't have wanted to put her life at risk to go down to Tuskegee. It kind of gives her a portal to that part of herself in an even stronger way, she says. While in Alabama, Peggy and Fortune stay with Booker T. Washington, a historical figure whose real-life tenure as the first leader of the Tuskegee Normal and Industrial Institute beginning in 1881 perfectly aligned with the fictional world creator Julian Fellows and executive producer and co-showrunner Sonia Warfield were depicting in the historical drama. We wanted to see Peggy in action doing journalism, explains Warfield. She's a predecessor to the real Ida B. Wells, but we had always talked about having her do more. I had discussions with our historian, Dr. Erica Dunbar, who said this was the same time period that Tuskegee was being built and that Fortune and Booker T. Washington would have met and known each other. And then she found this connective tissue with New York. So, in the episode, there's a dorm that's being built, and it's literally from a big donor in New York that gave money. Observing the response of the white elite to Washington and his efforts, Peggy and Fortune, another real-life figure who was born into slavery in 1856 and went on to become a journalist and civil rights leader, initially questioned whether race relations in Alabama are as grisly as they'd anticipated. Yet a physical altercation with a white man one evening forces the pair to flee Tuskegee for their lives. Upon reaching safety, the two share a passionate kiss, a story arc that was met with mixed reactions from audiences given Fortune's status as a married man.